Like, because we got a glimpse of heroes like...
On the other heroes, I'm actually kind of liking the recent hero that the international servers have, which is Aurum. And because of like the potential that they have, the great sustain, it's really amazing that I'm really excited myself when I'm going to use it in our server. How about you?
So you like the strong, independent woman?
Yes.
Okay, so in my case, I'm definitely loving Rourke. I mean, as far as heroes go, probably suits my playstyle. Because here's the thing, like, I'm a really sucky marksman, quite admittedly. Like, if you're going to put me on heroes like, let's say, maybe Joker or Slims or Fennec, expect a clown fiesta. Expect the full-on Arctic clown fiesta. But I feel like Rourke is one of those heroes which I could play a little bit more comfortably just because he needs to be in the heat of the battle. But then again, he has the tools at the same time so that he lasts long enough because he's not as volatile as most marksmen. Because most marksmen, you know, they're a little bit more on the squishier side. Once you get caught in, you are dead.
That's right. Maybe the kit of what Rourke has is very compatible to what you like the most.
It's got a little bit of a handicap in a way wherein I have the damage as well as a little bit of survivability. But let's go ahead and head on to the drafting phase. Once again, this is gonna be Chinese Taipei versus China.
And we have here for the first ban, we have Max, the recently released hero on our side of the server. Let's see what kind of response does China have in here.
Yeah, Chinese Taipei clearly not wanting to give up that little bugger. I mean, he is tanky as hell. And deals quite a bit of sizable damage as well. But meanwhile, in exchange, of course, Superman, no more surprises anymore. I mean, Superman would be lucky at this point if he even sees the light of day in any of our future matches. Of course, the Flash going to be taking away a lot of that zoom across the entire battlefield, which also packs quite the punch if you manage to pull him ahead.
That's right. And the mere fact that the Flash also had that super great initiating ability that can actually help the teammates in engaging team fights. But we have here Aurum, just as I said a while ago, being banned as high priority by Team Taipei right here.
Sorry, Say, you're not gonna get some Aurum for this particular game.
I am not that disappointed, but I'm sure there's a good reason for that.
Good point, good point. But meanwhile, Xenial gonna be banned away from China. Of course, Xenial pretty much has a lot of impact through that global, could also last quite well even as a solo in lane. So definitely not wanting to give that power in team fights for China. Of course, in exchange, not a bad way to go. You're going to ban away the Xenial, we're going to take away the Malak as well, just so that you lose out on... Because Xenial and Malak, they're kind of reminiscent. Kind of work great as a pair, and if you get one of the other, let's say if one of them were to be banned, at least you have that going for you as far as power in team fights.
That's right, and the mere fact that despite the new metas happening, they are still not forgetting the potentials of the people who, or the heroes who are still onto the situational picks. But right now, we can see that Chinese Taipei will be on the first pick. Let's see what kind of response will be for them here.
Yes, so we're still waiting for that first pick. Looks like it's actually going to be the Lubu. A little bit of a hover over though, don't want to get your hopes up just yet, but I mean, Lubu for me, definitely a safer pick. Wonder Woman as well, up in the sky for the taking. There's a lot of options that they could go for here. Wonder Woman, definitely one of the better picks I'd say to go for, but then again, with that leaves a lot open for China here, such as the Lubu, as well as the Teamy, which I was about to bring up. Teamy is quite the annoying little bugger. Vulcan likes him, one of our casters from yesterday. I personally, yeah, okay, I'll give him the merit. I mean, this kid is pretty darn effective from what we saw in yesterday's games.
That's right, and the mere fact that Teamy has this kind of ultimate that can actually be pretty handy onto his allies. Meanwhile, on the response for the blue team, we have Omen, the assassin, alongside with Tulin, a mage right here. It seems like it's a pretty good kit if you ask me, because this is a good way for the Omen to engage, especially when the Lasso of Truth Wonder Woman goes in for that kind of engagement right here. Also with the free hit of Tulin, can actually have a good team composition right there.
Yeah, quite complimentary so far, but Meanwhile, coming in from China, I actually like this response if ever they're going to be locking in both this Alice as well as the Arduin, just because, like you mentioned, you could get, there's a lot of great initiate as well as complementary damage based on what Chinese Taipei has drafted so far. By having both the Arduin as well as the Alice on their side, not just them, but even the Teamy to an extent, you cancel a lot of that. And as you can see, of course, based on the win percentage, speaks for herself rather.
It's a very high like win percentage for Alice right here. But if you'd notice that Team China here is quite on the safe line, more of the supporting roles or the initiating and support roles right here. Meanwhile, onto the blue side, we have a DPS, Lindis right here. We also have a Tulin and an Ormar to actually help the sustainability and the crowd control right there. And on the response of the red team, we have an Arduin Alice in aid of the Lubu team right here. So in my opinion here, this the team composition of Team Taipei right here is quite well-rounded and balanced as well. Meanwhile, there's a marksman in response, which is a Fennec, which is also good for their kind of well-rounded team.
Yep, I'd have to agree with you. I mean, with a Teamy Alice and Arduin drafted for China, they really need at least one more hero that could grant them that extra pow to make up for that lack of... Well, then again, I mean, these guys dish out damage regardless, but you need someone that has a little bit more reliable damage than what they've drafted here. So, Fennec, okay, I guess would be fine. I'm wondering if that'll lead to a lock-in though. I would have preferred someone with a little bit more pow, but I mean, Fennec's pretty much agreeable as well.
Yeah, maybe they're going for a situational or experimental pick for this kind of match right here. But like what you said, I'm also expecting for a little bit of a POW, like a Violet or a Joker maybe. Or actually, if the blue team didn't pick Lindis, I'd actually like bet for China to pick Lindis right there. But since the blue team already have it, let's see how this goes, because I can see here that Team Taipei has more focused on the damage side of the composition in team.
Yep. Okay, but let's go ahead and look at the merits of having a Fennec though, because for Fennec, it's quite the... what's the word I'm looking for? Maneuvers quite well across the battlefield. Not the easiest target that you'd lock down, and which I think would actually be a struggle for Chinese Taipei if ever Yichen shows a lot of fancy footwork on this particular hero. Not to mention, Fennec himself could actually go for... could also go for a splits should he want to, and could safely escape whenever any of the members of Chinese Taipei try to go for a response. But nonetheless, so ladies and gents, that is the lock-in for our first draft between Chinese Taipei and China. Let us know what your thoughts here on the chat, of course. Since me and Seiya, especially to our international audience out there, me and Seiya, we're only limited to what we have here on the Valiant server right now. So would definitely be great to get some insight, of course, from all our viewers out there that are playing on the playing in the regions that are a little bit more advanced than we are. But of course, ladies and gents, we're going to be heading into the game right now. Once again, this is match 1 between Chinese Taipei as well as China, who will come up on top right here. Bootcamp, of course, a great way to get things going. But of course, let's see who gets the glory.
That's right, and you can see the Team China here is having an early clumping up together onto the mid lane, hoping for a very nice opening right here. But so far, 3 laners onto the bottom side of the lane for Team Taipei. But so far, they're already exchanging for getting the blue golem right here.
Yep.
This is a wowzy for me, considering the fact that why shouldn't they just get it on their own sides? But meanwhile, they're already clumping onto the mid lane for their first engagement.
Yep, that's going to be TPE right onto Yichen. Going to get blocked by Yuzon from any further escape. They really want in on this Fennec, and that's going to be first blood going to Chinese Taipei.
That's right, and I have this kind of prediction right here that if Fennec doesn't do anything that can help him save onto the early game or early of these games, he's going to have a difficult time onto the mid and late game, because that's where his essential is.
Yep, but meanwhile, looks like the fights are still going on. Benny looking very low. It's actually going to be JunJun that secures the kill. Looks like the rest of TP, they have to start dispersing. They might have overcommitted a tad bit because China is on their tail. That's going to be the double kill going to the Alice. And that was so unfortunate for Chinese Taipei. A little bit of an overstep.
That's right, and that was all thanks to the stun of Alice right there. Very good engagement and very nice support for Team China right there. Meanwhile, they're not really giving up onto the clumping of onto the sides of the jungle right here, because they want to initiate more and more, hoping to get that Might Golem from the other side of the team.
Yeah, meanwhile, it looks like China really intent. Benny going to try to hold him up, but the damage is just too much for him. Looks like Wins might be the next casualty here, and that's going to be China. Look at JunJun getting all the kills there. Now ultimate status on this Alice. 1-4 total, looking really good for China so far. They're also going to get priority over this Abyssal Dragon.
That's right, it's going to be uncontested for them because they already have the map onto their favor so far right now. I have this kind of prediction that if Team China right here is already trying to read what Chinese Taipei is going by simply engaging them onto the early game, so that they'll have a very hard time to catch up onto the mid and late game right here.
Definitely, man, oh man. Just like that, we're seeing quite a bit of a sizable goal difference between Chinese Taipei and China. Probably playing around the 4 digits right now, just the 1000s place though. Nothing that Chinese Taipei should worry about just yet. But that's the thing here, they don't want to allow that gap to widen, and it's a bit unfortunate because if you're going to look at the first few seconds of this game rather, it's TPE that was going for the proactivity, but at the end of the day, China was able to keep their composure and actually react in a way that it ultimately went in their favor.
Yes, that's right, and I like the fact that Team China has good response when it comes, and aids when it comes to their allies and team. Meanwhile, they're already tower diving the top lane right here, hoping and engaging on TPE Yuzon and successfully getting the kill 4-1 in favor of China.
Oh man, crazy. Meanwhile, it looks like China, they are on the back end, right? Well, not the back end, but going back tier to prevent TPE from going in on the defense onto that turret. Looks like they're going to go straight for an aerial here, being one of the more squishier targets. That's going to be a successful takedown by JiuSheng. Meanwhile, Wentz might be the next to fall. Will be joining his fallen comrade amidst that death timer star as well. Double kill for the Lupu. Wow, China is really starting to bring it.
Yeah, they're on a roll today. I like the fact that that China is aware of their kit right now here, since they are the initiative and more on the buffs and sustainability. They're using this type of the minutes of the game into their advantage, so that the team Chinese Taipei won't be able to be caught up into the mid and late of this game. Which is, I like the fact because they're not wasting their time. They really want to go engage until that the time where Team Chinese Taipei won't be able to get caught up anymore.
Yep. Meanwhile, looks like Chinese Taipei again more priority over this Abyssal Dragon. China rather having priority over this Abyssal Dragon. Meanwhile, TPE, they're starting to limit themselves a bit across the map, and I think that's the tricky part here with this composition. They don't really have as much elements to try to go for sets here. So at the end of the day, it's actually China that probably has a little bit more hold in these team fights. Meanwhile, it's actually Nanwan will be just fine though. That is a team.
That's right, and I like it, and we can see here that China has the upper hand quite or slightly so far, because we can see the kills right here. It's 8-1. Not really a good shape for Chinese Taipei, but this is not the end just yet. If the Lindis and the Tolan manage to get that correct itemization and that good of a feed for them, I think it's gonna work out. But considering this kind of situation, we can see that China is already clumping up on different sides of the lane.
Yup, that's gonna be once again a fiesta that China's bringing to TPE. Wins and Benny, they're on the run. Looks like they might potentially have to give up the turret, but China, unfortunately, they don't have a wave to work with, so they won't be able to siege this turret in the bot lane just yet.
That's right, but despite not having any kills, this is a form of harassment for Team Chinese Taipei, because they're not really hesitating to tower dive that just to get them backing away or actually going for the kill. Meanwhile, they're already here, successfully destroying the bottom lane tower.
Oh, meanwhile, Chinese Taipei able to trade off that top turret, but looks like China wants to go for more. Will manage to get wins here. Benny a little bit in too late for the party. China can actually go for it. Yet another dive. We're not done just yet. You're going to react. We're going to take you down.
That's right. This is what I'm talking about them not really hesitating and going for the brave kills for that, because they are confident. They're confident that they have enough initiability and they have that sustainability to actually stay longer into that tower. Meanwhile, they're already on the high tier bottom tower for the red side of the team. This is quite amazing for me, because this is turning into a snowball fight if Team Taipei doesn't do anything about it.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a worry right here. But looks like they're going to go straight for Abyssal Dragon this time around. And yet another successful take right there. Chinese Taipei really starting to slow down in this game. I mean, if you're going to look at the difference here, Chinese Taipei, what they have managed to take After that one kill that they managed to rake up is just pretty much 2 towers. But the thing here is that China is overwhelming them way too much because of the massive control and priority they have, not only over objectives, but the number of pickoffs that they manage. And like I mentioned, at the end of the day, it's because of the nature of their composition, where it's so easy to get a hold onto any of the members of TPE.
That's right, and also like knowing, if you could observe a while ago, that Team China has been clumping up together onto a 4 versus quite of a skirmish fights a while ago, and as you can see right here, they're already trying to engage, hoping for an opening, but so far nothing has happened. But if you noticed a while ago that Team China, from the very start of the game, they're already clumping up together, unlike Team Chinese Taipei that they were focusing more on the split side of the map right here. But we can see an engagement right now. Oh my gosh, that is a good free hit by Lindis right there.
Indeed. Meanwhile, looking at China right there, able to get the takedown onto start. Looks like they could potentially go for a cleanup, but take note, Wins and Benny, they're actually still quite healthy. JiuSheng has to back away, but will get complimented with the speed boost coming in from the Owls. And just like that, Chinese Taipei, they do get 1 kill though, but that's still pretty far from where they need to get if they want to get back into this game.
That's right, you know what they say, small but terrible.
Wow.
Well, I can relate to that because I am a petite person such as myself, and I use Alice. But in all seriousness, it's really amazing that Alice here is quite useful because despite having this 3 kills from the early start of the game, the Lubu manages to survive in a big thanks to her speed boost.
Yep, but man, this is becoming a tall order for TPE because that's the thing. Whenever a TPE tries to go for a lockdown, it wouldn't be as optimal because China has a lot of tools to disengage from the side of TPE, and what damage TPE has, they also have the opportunity to pretty much deny that opportunity to even dish out damage in the first place because of the hold that they have. But meanwhile, speaking of, Nanwan going to try to go heavy on in the front line, but of course, just going to resurrect just as easily, while the rest of China, they try to go for damage, but might have taken a fight that they can't really deal with. Meanwhile, JiuSheng might be a little bit in too late for the party. Goes for a star, but at the cost of his life as well. And that will end in a 1-for-4 in favor of Team China.
That's right, and that was a little bit of a mispositioning coming from Team China. Meanwhile, Team Taipei here has the chance to get the Dark Slayer uncontested because we can see that Alice here is the only one alive. Sadly, can't do anything about it so far, and they have successfully taken the Dark Slayer, which can probably help them when it regards to pushing and maybe some engagement when Alice here tries to go in.
Questionable play coming in from China right there. The tricky part there was, since they weren't complete, that's the thing. Like I mentioned, they have great support through the Chimi, the Arduin, and the Alice, but if they don't really function as a unit in these team fights, I don't think they could match the optimal damage that TPE has, which is why in that last fight, TPE was able to overwhelm them because of the barrage of damage that they have with the composition that they drafted.
Yeah, that's right. It's also about how you put it and when to do it, how to put your skills into place, and how you set up a good fight. Meanwhile, right here, they're trying to contest over the blue golem a while ago, but wasn't really that successful in taking it. Meanwhile, we can see right here, they're all the bottom side of the lane, hoping for a new engagement, but so far the red tower is still alive. We can see that the Fennec is trying to shove it away by using his ult, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So far no engagements whatsoever.
Yep, that will buy some time for China amidst waiting for TPE to lose out on their Dark Slayer buff. But man, oh man, what a twisted turn of events. And take note, Seiya, just like that, look at the goal difference, already back to even. And this is a bit of a worry for Team China because if Chinese Taipei manages to reach the later parts of this game, that's where their damage will become much more optimal. And I don't think, even with 3 supports, China will be able to allow the Fennec as well as the Lubu to deal the optimal damage that they can, just because TPE will have a lot more that they can deal.
That's right, and the mere fact that they have a Lindis and a Tolan onto their hands, of course, we all know that Lindis and Tolan are both a difficult hero to fight with when it comes to the late game, and we're already coming into that phase right here. And if China doesn't end this soon, this will not be going into their favor anytime. But, as I said, we can see some engagements right over here. We can see that the Lindis is trying to free hit the Arduin, but Tolan successfully slain it. And we can see here that China is in a little bit of trouble right here since they weren't able to have their positions right.
Yep, oh, TPE wins a little bit in too far in that fight. And of course, this is definitely a little bit of breathing room here for China because they were able to withstand a potential heavy on siege from Chinese Taipei with the Dark Slayer buff. But since they have that breathing room once again, sure, they could probably go back to trying to find those pickoffs. But here's the thing, like I mentioned, since we're starting to reach the later parts of this game, they pretty much allowed Chinese Taipei to scale. That being said, it's not going to be easy for the Chinese squad to be able to just get the same easy pickoffs that they did onto Chinese Taipei earlier.
That's right, and we can see the Lindis here being itchy onto the damage that she's already having right now. This will be very difficult if they let Lindis free hit them into a team clash right here. But you can see that Team Taipei right here is already waiting for a good opening, hoping that they can get the opportunity that they can have into their favor and finally winning this game. But so far, Team China isn't giving up just yet because they're also waiting for, I think this is a waiting game, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a slower pace here if you're going to notice. I think China has realized that they, like I mentioned, they don't have that same pickoff power as earlier, which is why they're choosing their fights a little bit more carefully. Because if ever one of these members of Team China gets picked off, like I mentioned, the damage is just way too overwhelming coming in from TPE at this point. So if anything, it just makes it all the more optimal that they function as a unit whenever they can try to find those pickoffs, which they potentially can because TPE is going for the splits, although this may result to them losing a turret if they do.
That's right, and if you can see, a while ago there was an engagement, but luckily managed to escape. And Fennec successfully killing Lindis right there. More free hits opportunities for him. Like I said, it was a double kill right there.
Yep, and there you have it. Looks like China just going to overwhelm TPE. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's what Team China needs to do. Just group, not just group up, but try to optimally land all their crowd control properly. Just a perfect layer, if you will, just so that they could get a nice hold onto Chinese Taipei where they couldn't retaliate with their own form of damage.
Meanwhile, Omen successfully split pushing the top right there while there was an engagement onto the bottom lane a while ago. Meanwhile, Tolan successfully killing Fennec over here.
Oh,
and
man.
Omen shutting down my poor little Alice.
Yep, poor Alice. But then again, China was asking for it. And see, that's what I'm talking about. The moment that they start splitting up together, that's where they kind of start dwindling. So if they want to go for sieges like that, they need to function as a unit.
That's right, and what I mentioned a while ago, since they are an initiating supporting team composition, they have to clump up together so that they can have a good team play. But unfortunately, like you mentioned, since they're splitting up, they're going to have a hard time since, firstly, Alice right here is a support. She focuses morely on the healing and the buffs for the allies. We have Timmy here who's a good initiating, but doesn't do that much damage. So if they're splitting up together, they're really going to have a hard time.
Well, you know what's interesting about this Timmy, though, now that they realize, if you're going to look at the build that he has, I mean, it's a mix of health, not to mention ability power.
Yeah.
So I think the good thing about this is that, okay, so they have ability power. I mean, because otherwise it would have been a lot of heavy AD, but I'm going to have to hold that thought, Seiya, because China able to pick off not one, but two members, both Benny and Star suffering as a casualty. But here's the thing. China's still limited to just fending off whatever waves are coming in onto them because of how systematic Chinese Taipei is, by making sure that all the waves are constantly pushing in onto Chinese territory, and as a result, you know, China in effect couldn't go for the sieges that they would otherwise want amidst being able to pick off members from Chinese Taipei.
I'll agree with you on that, and you can see if the gold count, they already caught up. And of course, with regards to the kills, they're not really that much of important right now because their objective right now is to actually get to the core. Meanwhile, China attempting to get the Dark Slayer here. Will they get it? Successfully, yes. Unfortunately, Taipei wasn't able to contest it out because they were a wee bit too late onto that.
Yep, this could finally be the opportunity that China needs. Like I mentioned, damage is definitely up TPE's alley, but given that China has the Dark Slayer buff, they could potentially match that now and have the better sets to boot with the team composition that they have. And looks like they're going to try to go for Neil. Neil trying to back away. That's going to be the full lockdown. Great play coming in from Nanwan and JiuSheng. Looks like the rest of China going to turn to this turret. Going to potentially need to wait for a wave first. But Neil, very heavy death timer. Looks like they're going to rotate towards this bot side, given that the high ground turret here is definitely lower in on health. Very well played by China. Looks like Yichen gonna back away for now, so it looks like they're not gonna force it. Looking at things, great play from Yuzon as well, denying the shove-in of waves just so that China couldn't further pursue pushing in on that high ground in the mid lane.
Yeah, that's right. But we can see right here they're already trying to engage on Omen right here, but they will go back away because the response of Team Taipei is already there. But if you saw a while ago, I like the fact that China prioritized on killing the Lindis first so that Team Taipei won't have the chance to have this kind of deep that damage that they wanted to have. And also that also is kind of worth it for Team China because they managed to push 2 towers.
Oh man. Meanwhile, it looks like China trying to look for their next opportunity here. Looks like might try to get for a pickup onto Yuzon in the top lane. Unfortunately, for them, Yuzon was able to retreat safely under that second tier turret. TPE looks like they're mounting off quite a solid defense.
That's right, and we can see here Team China clumped up in the side of the jungle. Meanwhile, Taipei trying to defend this top tower right here. But China not hesitating, I guess. This is gonna be an engagement right now.
Oh man, looks like that's gonna be the full-on fight that they've been looking for. But looks like TPE actually might be coming up on top here because the damage is just way too overwhelming for Team China to deal with. Looks like they're trying to kite away, but wait a minute. Okay, so Nanwan, Yichen, as well as JunJun, the only surviving members. Yuzon definitely keeping them on their feet, not preventing them from having an easy escape. That is going to be the takedown onto Yichen. It's only JunJun that's the surviving member. Oh man, this is looking pretty dangerous. Looks like he will survive though. Totally not able to dish out the optimal damage that he can, but that's definitely a victory for Chinese Taipei.
That's right. This is also a good opportunity for Taipei to actually shove other minions away and also get Abyssal if they wanted for more extra gold and potentially pushing the high tier towers of the red team since, hey, it's only Alice. Alice the one remaining left. What can she do? Well, for now, we can see that Team Taipei is already trying to push the high tier tower, mid tower for Team China right here. And we can see that the Wonder Woman was shoving the minions away from the bottom side of the lane.
Oh man, great move there coming in from Chinese Taipei, able to push in on that high ground turret just so that it's a bit more of a better balance. I mean, with China having their own empowered minion wave pushing it towards the bot side, it just pretty much pans out. And I think that's definitely a lot more value for Chinese Taipei, that it's the high ground in the mid lane that was taken down particularly, because it definitely gives you much more coverage as opposed to China being able to push the bot side. Like, let's say if they need to make their way towards top side, it's a little bit of a long journey that they have to make, while Chinese Taipei, since it's just a mid lane, gives a little bit more balance, having easier access to both top and bot lane respectively.
That's right. Meanwhile, Chinese Taipei, they're letting Team China wait. They're waiting for Team China to actually engage on them onto their base, and we can see right here that Lindis was defeated.
Yep, but meanwhile, the members of China are still very much intact, but that's a great hold that TPE is putting up. Looks like they could potentially go for a cleanup here, but wait a minute, hold your horses, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get back to the game in just a tiny bit.
Yeah, because I think there was a Buffy that just happened just now because, you know.
Yep, it happens.
It happens.
Yes, like it's like one of those things, like you're watching anime, you're about to reach that epic Kameha. Okay.
Excuse me for that, but yeah, that's where, you know, the suspense happens. That there's a reason why suspenses exist, because at that middle, like, upward stage and up, we're gonna give you a little bit of a pause, so that you can, like, calm yourselves down, and then we'll resume back.
Watch out for the next episode. Stay tuned. But no, we'll be resuming in a bit, of course.
But in the meantime, okay, we resume. Oh, as I was about to say something, we already resumed. So take it away.
Yep. So okay, it looks like China's back on the prowl here. Yuzon coming in from the backside. Gwen's gonna try to complement that. Looks like Yuzon in exchange took way too much damage. And as a result, this could be the opportunity for China to go for a siege. Can they go for a finish, though? That's a bigger question. Neil and Star, as well as Benny, are going to be up in just a bit, but will it be in time to at least salvage the score? Here comes Benny, going to try to get the hole, but that's not going to happen. Congratulations, it's going to be Team China that takes Game 1 of this best of 3.
I am amazed. Like, there was just the pause a while ago.
Yep.
And when we resume, it's like, they won!
Oh, yeah. Man, that was...
I deserve an explanation!
And an explanation that potentially you will get, but
We will get it later, but I think in my opinion, maybe because that Team China was able to have that opening that they wanted to have, maybe because they managed to slay first in the early ones, the ones that had more damage, so that they had more time to actually defeat the ones who don't. So maybe that's what happened that led them to victory.
And with that, I mean, overall, China definitely did a great game, maximizing their advantages within the first few minutes. But the fact that it took a bit more of a while for them to close off, that definitely also gave the opportunity for Chinese Taipei to kind of ramp up, build up to their own scaling, and that's where things got really tricky. But it's interesting because China, at the end of the day, was able to close off a little bit more better. Like I mentioned, what I like about their composition is the great hold that they have through the crowd control, the kits of Teamy, the Arduin, as well as the Alice. So that's definitely great compliments. Not to mention, Lubu and Fennec lasted long enough to deal the optimal damage that they can in team fights. Usually it's either one of the other that goes down first, but by that time that happens, that's definitely a lot of havoc that they managed to reach. And in all fairness, like I mentioned, Arduin as well as the Teamy dished out their own significant damage as well, even though they're not necessarily the main carries. Teamy was building up on both tells as well as ability power, so definitely worked out for them in the end.
That's right, but meanwhile, also, I would like to share more of my thoughts, but we'll be back onto a short break.
Yep, so once again, ladies and gents, you are watching the Arena of Valor World Cup 2018 Bootcamp. We'll see you guys again for Game 2, once again, between Chinese Taipei and China. Stay tuned. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2018 Arena of Valor World Cup Bootcamp. Of course, we've just came back from Game 1 wherein Team China able to mount their first win in a best-of-3 against Chinese Taipei. Of course, we're still looking to see if Chinese Taipei can mount a comeback, potentially try to make the mini reverse sweep, but of course, we'll just have to find out later on when we head into the game. But before that, of course, we're going to be introducing ourselves as your casters for this evening. I'm Arctic, and of course, with me is Seiya. So, Seiya, you kind of wanted to talk about the bit more of the game earlier, so this is your opportunity, definitely, before we head into the next one.
That's right. I also wanted to acknowledge the talent or the skills that Chinese Taipei had a while ago, because the fact that they managed to let the game stay long, long, I mean, of course, we thought at first that it would be a snowball effect for Team China, but they managed to have this semi-epic comeback right here, but in all due fairness, I would like to also acknowledge China for winning that amazing game.
But nonetheless, I mean, that was still a great game that Chinese Taipei managed to pull off. I mean, the fact that they were able to put it into a point wherein they still managed to scale, still have relevant damage, that's still pretty commendable. But nonetheless, ladies and gents, we're going to be heading into the drafting phase for game number 2. Of course, be sure to keep your eyes on Team China right now because they're leading the fray with a win under their belt. Still looking to close out the 2-0 for this best of 3. Let's check out these bands so far. Okay, we'll check them out in a bit.
That's right. Maybe there was, it happens again.
Yeah, it happens. We'll get back into it in a while. But from what I did see, though, if I'm not mistaken, no, actually, I'll just hold off for now. We'll just wait for us to get back into the drafting phase. But, I mean, with this game, the thing here is that, okay, there we go. So
there
it's like we can continue. Quick touch up on the bans here. Max Flash, Osiniel banned away from the side of China. Meanwhile, Arum Malik as well as the Super Anso. Pretty much a repeat of the bans that we saw earlier.
Also, same with the picking right here, but this time Lubu is in the hands of Team Chinese Taipei. But since in China, there's still the Teamy Alice, if I'm not mistaken. And we see, again, a Wonder Woman on Team Chinese Taipei right here. So far, we don't see any new changes with regards to the ban and the pickings, but we see that Neil picks from Violet to Lumber. I don't want to finalize it because I might get juked once again. But we can see here that I think that they're going for a tanky type of team composition right here. I can see my baby Liliana right here. I am a happy person.
Yes, I could definitely. If you guys could only see the joy on Seiya's face right now. So it looks like we'll be seeing some Liliana action courtesy of Chinese Taipei in this game. But meanwhile, like you mentioned, a little bit of a stickeroo coming in from Team China here. pretty much the same, almost virtually the same draft from what we're seeing here. Although the difference, of course, is Lubu has already been taken by Chinese Taipei, but looks like in exchange they're gonna be taking Omen for themselves. Oh man.
That's right. It looks like they were aware that they needed, I guess, a bit more damage than they had on the first game right here. But so far, Team TPE still constant with the DPS type of team composition alongside with a tanky support and initiative kind of like it. So I think it's still pretty much well-rounded on for the side of Team Taipei.
Yeah, pretty not a bad draft so far. I mean, there's a lot of directions that they could go with this still, depending on what their last two picks are. But okay, so as we are seeing, it is the Omen gonna be swapped in for the Lubu. I'm wondering if they're gonna be still sticking to a Fennec though, but meanwhile, looking at Chinese Taipei, they're having a hover over that Violent as well as the elephant in the room, the Chagnar.
It's been a while since I last saw that
Wow.
elephant. Yes, and I would like to see it in par with the Foxy that I can pretty much love right now. But I'm surprised also to see a Violet since of course before it was a high priority pick or ban. Now it's really open right now, and I'm really excited to see what kind of combination that they can have right here alongside with my personal favorite. But in the meantime, Team China here, I want to see what kind of response.
Ah.
Oh, sticking again with the Fennec, but I'm not gonna finalize until they lock in because I don't want to get juked again. I don't want to get juked.
You've gotten juked a lot of times, haven't you, Sia?
Yes, I have, and I don't want to finalize it until it's locked in. So hopefully it's locked in, so I'm not gonna be, you get the point.
Yeah, you know, but nonetheless, looking at these picks here so far. So China, of course, like we mentioned, sticking to what they had earlier, albeit a change from Lubu to Omen just because TPE secured the Lubu for themselves. And I'd have to agree with what you mentioned earlier, Seiya. Definitely a good balance here coming in from Chinese Taipei. I mean, they have the proper support, proper ability power, proper physical damage. So just overall, the jack of all trades here. They have a lot of options as well. So interested in seeing how they're going to move this time around.
Maybe because the result of the first game for Team China, maybe they are already quite confident on with regards to their tanky and supporty kind of type. So maybe they just replaced one with Omen. That's what I think. I mean, they had more damage here that in comparing with the first game that they had. Meanwhile, in my personal opinion, I'm kind of rooting for the composition of Team Taipei for now, but I want to see the results myself because in the end, it's about execution. I think you'll agree with me on that.
Yeah, that's a very Vulcan-esque thing to say.
Well, because Vulcan
He's
kind
your
of
senpai.
had that, yeah. It kind of had that vibe in me. I just had to say it because it was good.
Okay, so there you have it, guys. Once again, this is going to be Game 2 between Chinese Taipei as well as Team China. So, of course, let us know in the chat who you guys are rooting for. Hashtag TPE win or hashtag CN win. Let's go ahead and get in on the action.
That's right. Oh, I like this. They're already coming up on the mid together. Maybe because CP already had this earlier. And we see an early engagement right now.
Yep, but looks like just a few scratches, a few scuffles here and there coming in from both sides. But Benny goes for a face check, but actually gets quite a bit of damage that China took in exchange, though. Everyone almost nearing half with the exception of Yichen. Looks like Benny gonna go for an invade here. Will he manage to steal that Might Golem, though? Okay, good try, though.
Yeah, that's right. But in the end, they already decided to split onto the respective lanes. So far, we don't see more engagements right now, but we see that the poking ability of Liliana back there. But I really want to see more engagements onto the future minutes of this game. But so far, it's an even Steven.
Yeah, TPE though, so far, they've constantly been trying to cause a ruckus in the jungle side of Team China, but I mean, so far it hasn't really led to much success. I mean, sure, they were able to get a few scratches, but as far as actual steals, I mean, that would have been a better bonus if they were able to go for steals, but meanwhile, so we have a fight right there. Win's getting first blood onto Yichen. JunJun going to try to back away. Takes quite a bit of damage right there, but that's definitely going to be a checkup for Chinese Taipei. It looks like their patience in the invades have been rewarded.
That's right. And if you notice onto the first game that China was the one being aggressive, looks like TPE is already responding to that in this game we have right now.
Oh man, but meanwhile, looks like a lot more gonna be taken by TPE, slowly building up on that gold lead. We're seeing something that's looking in the hundreds so far, not a bad way to start, but looks like they are actually gonna start off on this Abyssal, but numbers are looking better for China. Looks like it's gonna be China that in the end gets to take on Abyssal Dragon. Mengyi coming in as well. Looks like TP, they might want to start dispersing sometime soon, but looks like that won't be the case. But not without saying that China gets not only Abyssal but one kill as well in the form of Neil.
That's right. It was very worth it for China to contest that Abyssal Dragon indeed. Meanwhile, Lubu here onto the top lane trying to push so that it would also have any advantage for them as well. But we can see right here, so far there are no engagements. And we see that the Omen trying to poke Lubu out of the way. And we see on the middle lane, right here, a little bit of poking, if you know what I mean.
Yep, a little bit of a hokey pokey, but at the end of the day, just these small squabbles they've been having here. I mean, it's not the same scenario that we saw earlier. We're in just 3 minutes into the game. We're already seeing quite the lean towards China. This time around, it's definitely going equal from what I'm seeing. But oh, Nanwan, that was a close call right there. Just a few more hits from Neil, and that could have been his undoing. But looks like he survives to tell the tale just fine.
That's right, and they just took the Sentinel for a little bit of a bonus for them. Meanwhile, TPE already clumping together onto the blue side jungle right here. I mean, onto the red side, I'm so sorry. And we can see here that they're already tower diving onto the lower side of the bottom lane and going for the kill for Arduin, which is successfully done by Wonder Woman. We can see right here TPE trying to engage, but then successfully escapes.
Yep, gonna be A-okay, but meanwhile, looking at this mid lane, a little bit of a squabble between JiuSheng as well as... Okay, I'm going to hold off right there. Is Nanwan going to try something? No, that's not going to be the case. Just going to help assist in making sure that they get a proper clear. Not to mention Yichen is kept safe in that bot lane.
That's
Making a transition right now.
Yeah, we can see that the red side bottom tower but is only 1 HP left. But we can see some engagements right here on the middle lane.
Oh, speaking of engage, indeed, Seiya, that's a full lockdown. Coming in from Star, forced to flicker away. But looks like we'll survive to tell the tale though, luckily, but this will grant the upper hand for China in securing the second Abyssal Dragon of the game, the second for themselves, not to mention.
That's right, and it looks like this type of Abyssal Dragon taking is uncontested, which gives more advantage on to Team China when it regards to gold count, because we can see a 3k difference. Correct me if I am wrong.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am
Equal.
wrong because it just changed just about now. But right now we can see that China already has starting to decide to already come together in, so that they can already go on to their full potential when it comes to team play.
Oh man, but so far, I mean, it's interesting that you bring that up because earlier China was starting to lag just a teeny tiny bit in terms of goal, but what I like about this is that things are definitely looking equal for both sides. But Mengyi, okay, managing to ward off TP from going into their own territory. So definitely an interesting game that we have here so far. No clear leads just yet.
That's right. And why we were mentioning onto the first game that Team China has to like stick more together or else they'll have a difficult time. I think it also applies here because if one miscalculation or mispositioning happens onto Team China, I think it's going to be a difficult time for them. But at the same time, if Team China manages to get, like I said, that kind of initiative right there, it's going to be onto their upper hand.
Wow, well played by Team China. Great collapse, by the way, on to Yuzon. And as a result, not only did they get the pick off as well as the tower, but of course, TPE going to respond by taking the mid lane turret as well, so it pretty much pans out, but they might want to make a response onto JiuSheng here, who's making good work of that second tier. Will he succeed before he potentially goes down? Yes, he does!
That's right. I think he prioritizes more onto the objectives rather than his dear life right there. But it was really worth it if you would ask me. But so far, we can see here that this is also an opportunity for Team Taipei to get the Abyssal Dragon.
Definitely. But looks like TPE, they have other plans. We'll just probably settle for a Spirit Sentinel instead. But, oh, are they going to go for a fight here? Mengyi keeping TPE zoned out for the meantime, but Benny just going to go straight in. Take the numbers aren't quite in the... Well, actually, they're looking equal, but Benny looking very low as well. That is going to be, no, a pickoff onto Nanwan.
Will you agree with me if I told you that I was momentarily expecting Timmy to
Yeah,
resurrect?
actually.
But when it was announced, like, oh, okay, I'm so sorry, I was wrong. But
actually not,
this is
yeah.
a good opportunity for Team Taipei to actually get the Abyssal Dragon uncontested this time.
Yeah, it looks like finally Chinese Taipei able to slowly start building up on that lead, playing around 2,000. Not as sizable as you'd want, especially 7 minutes into the game, but then again, the way that China's been playing this, I'd say even the smallest advantage counts at this point, just because of how well calculated both Chinese Taipei as well as China are playing this game so far.
That's right, and looks like Team China is going for the sneaky kind of attack right here, but they couldn't really get that good opening so far, so I think it was better for them to just go and back away and get more jungle minions over there. But we can see here that TPE is trying to engage on Ardoin right there, but was get to the lasso of truth by Wonder Woman and was successfully free hit by Violet right there.
Oh man, that was pretty painful for Mengyi, but all the more reason for TPE to be happy. But it's like they're going to try to go for Yuzon here, but they have to take note. The rest of TPE are in the vicinity, up and kicking. Looks like they might regret trying to go for Yuzon, in which case CN able to successfully retreat under the safety of their turret. JunJun looking very low. Will TPE try to go for it? Star does, but does not succeed in the takedown, but still able to take down the second tier turret. I'd say that's a victory regardless.
That's right. It was a good decision for them to actually take that towers right there when Team China was already running for their dear lives back to their bases right there. I mean, it was really worth it, because if they're going for the Dragon Slayer right here, or I think they're going for an engage. I think they're going for an engage right here, because they are already looking for that opening right here. Wonder Woman successfully slaying Ardoin.
And still the numbers are looking pretty good. 1 for 3 so far. Definitely something that TP can go for as far as Siege. Looks like they're doing just that, Star managing that wave in the mid lane. But oh man, more casualties. Okay, no, not a casualty, but just registered just now. But that will be TPE getting the turret towards the top side. Can they go for the finish though? It's only JiuSheng that's up and kicking, but Mengyi, JunJun as well as Yichen will be up in a bit as well. Can they salvage this game and tape? Looks like TPE, they're going to try to take down the core. They're working at it quite patiently, but China looks like they may actually be able to salvage so far. Keep the dream alive of potentially winning this game, and that is going to be the end of TPE's Siege for now, but that's a lot of value that they got.
That's right, and in my opinion, I think it was better for them to just back away and I think more focused onto getting the Dark Slayer, because they should be aware by now that they didn't have a wave of minions on that time, so it would be quite of a disadvantage to them to actually tower core dive rather that kind of play. So it was a shame that they weren't able to take that Dark Slayer or that Abyssal Dragon, but I think they're not gonna go down without a fight just yet, because hey, they already respawned right now, and I think they're gonna go for another team fight right here. Oh, sorry. Meanwhile, like Violet, I thought that she was gonna go for the Abyssal Dragon, but you can see that she's not there.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Chinese Taipei, they have a massive lead that they're working with right now. Not necessarily in terms of gold, because it's still playing around less than 3k if my maths are correct. But at the same time, what lead that they are working with here is the number of turrets that they did manage to seed, and in effect, because of that, have a lot more control over the map. But meanwhile, Yuzon dealing with 4 members from Team China will go down, but that was a great distraction because it effectively allowed Chinese Taipei to take Dragon, Dark Slayer.
That's right, but Omen here onto the bottom side of the lane looks like will attempt a split push. Meanwhile, right here we can see China will defend the rest of the side, the top side of their base. And we can also see here that I don't think that they're gonna go tower dive. I think they will because they're confident, but yeah, they're confident about it. But Timmy resurrected.
Yup, but man, oh man, that was a good demonstration of how painful TPE is at this point. JiuSheng going to be coming in. Were they trying to go for a flank maneuver here? That would be rather dangerous. And it looks like JiuSheng, speaking of danger, he's in danger himself. Going to get slowed down there by Benny. Star and Winds are just right behind him. And it looks like I don't think JiuSheng can make it out alive. And that is going to be the takedown. He had no business being that far.
That's right, but unfortunately it wasn't the response of his allies weren't there because they were too far away from each other. And we can see right here poking abilities of Liliana Baby right here. And we can see that China holding on to their side of the map right here. And we see that Violet already pushing the bottom side of the tower for the red side. And this is not looking good for Team China.
Not at all. Meanwhile, looks like China has a pretty good hold here on this third TPE. They're trying to go for a finish here, though. China just defending what they can without overstepping their boundaries.
That's right, no. I agree right here. And we can see they're already coming up on the bottom side of the lane. An initiative coming from them, but will they get it? I'm not so sure.
Yep,
Ooh.
Great collapse coming in from TPE still. That will be the double kill for JiuSheng. It's actually Team China that manages to get more pickoffs from the side of TPE. 2 for 1 to be exact. But okay, TPE, Neil, utilizing that long range to go for that turret, that last high ground that is standing for Team China. Yet again, Team China survives to tell the tale and defends their base, but for how long? Because things are just getting all the more trickier with yet another high ground taken from their end.
That's right, and they must be aware by now that the more the game goes, the more that the Violet or the ones that go for their damage is getting itchier by the second. And we can see here that Omen tries to take the blue golem or is hiding, going for a sneak attack, but it's not so good because that's what I was talking about.
Yup, and that is it. The Violet was, or rather, Liliana was taken down. Meanwhile, TPE gonna try to look for vengeance for their fallen comrade. Looks like they do manage just that earlier onto JiuSheng, but that's 2 members taken down from their side. And let's see what China can get off of this though, because they're still trying to manage these heavy minion waves pushing in onto their base from the lanes that already lost out on their high grounds.
That's right, and we can see that damage that I was talking about earlier. If Violet or Liliana has this itchy damage, it would be very difficult for Team China because, well, of course, who would want to face an itchy Violet right here? So far, in my opinion, I think this is a good opportunity for Team Taipei to get the Abyssal Dragon for extra gold, but I think they're not doing it yet. Oh, I'm stand corrected because Violet is already engaging onto the Abyssal Dragon uncontested.
Yep, and oh man, and just like that, Abyssal was taken. Abyssal not really a heavy factor in this game anymore though. I mean, being this late in, it's just like a small amount of gold. Really depends on, I think the heavier factor is just what's still up for these two sides, and it's China losing out on their last high ground. Their core left up and open for the potential taken. JiuSheng, meanwhile, coming in from the back line, trying to buy time by taking down these waves, but looks like TPE has sniffed out what he's up to. Meanwhile, that is going to be 2 members down on the side of China. I don't know, Seiya, this could be the finish.
That's right, and was caught by the lasso of truth by Wonder Woman that led to his defeat. Meanwhile, TPE going strong here onto the base side of Team China, already engaging on Mengyi, was successfully slain by Wonder Woman and now is continuously being taken down one by one. And they're already onto the core. They will get it, and they are the victor for this game 2.
Yes, we are heading into game 3, ladies and gents. The match is still on for Chinese Taipei and Team China. Very, very well played.
This is a very intense game. I thought at first that their Team China is gonna go consistent onto their team compositions and same with the performance, but this is a very strong play that was executed pretty well by Team Chinese Taipei, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'd say earlier during game 1, what really made things effective for Team China was the fact that they did have that Lubu instead of the Omen. And when you have that Lubu, you definitely have a lot more maneuverability across the entire battlefield, not to mention great ways to set in team fights as well. Omen sure does so himself, but definitely Lubu had a bit more boom boom pow to him in game 1, which is why there was a little bit more success to accomplish. And I think it was a make or break, and I like the adjustment that TPE went for the Violet as well. Was just able to constantly hit from that back line, and I think the great thing here is that they took advantage of the earlier phases, wherein China wasn't able to build up enough to withstand all that damage. So that's the flip side of what ideally should have happened during game 1, but overall, looks like we're going to be getting a game 3, Seiya.
That's right. And I wonder if this time Team China is going to go for a different type of team composition, or will we still see a consistent or a repetitive kind of team play? But I guess they're not, because since this is already a tie, I think they're not gonna go easy peasy this time. But I'm really excited for this third game that we're gonna have.
Yep, so there you have it, guys. We're once again going to be taking a little bit of a quick
Hold your horses right there.
So, yeah, we're just going to be heading into the game in a teeny tiny bit.
But so far, I really like to acknowledge also the Wonder Woman a while ago for the lasso of truth. I mean, if that lasso of truth wasn't able to catch that Omen, I think he would still be able to escape. But yeah, wasn't able to.
Yeah.
Lasso of truth is pretty strong right there.
And again, I guess Wonder Woman played correctly this time around. Was definitely utilized by Chinese Taipei right there. But nonetheless, of course, for those of you that have just tuned in, welcome to the Arena Valor World Cup 2018 bootcamp happening live right now in Thailand. Of course, you guys are watching the MSP broadcast, the MSP English broadcast. We are your current casters right now. I'm Arctic. With me is Seiya, and man, oh man, what games that we've had so far.
Yeah, it's very intense. I mean, like the first time we thought like it was really intense. I can't say it's a snowball, because on the first game it was China, then Chinese Taipei, then China, and then now we can see like Chinese Taipei, China, and then Chinese Taipei again. So
Right.
I can't say it's a snowball, but I'm pretty sure it's a pretty amazing game if you ask me. It's giving me the chills right now.
Yeah, giving you the chills. I'm kind of getting, it's getting
Hi.
hot in here.
That's
But
right.
yeah, we're just waiting to get back in, not get back, but load up into the
Drafting
next
phase.
game. Yeah, just so that we can finally settle the score as to who will be taking the next game, or rather closing out the series. It's going to be Chinese Taipei or China, because both sides definitely have had a great showing, not just for this particular match, but just in general with their showing in the boot camp so far these past days.
Yeah, but I think in my opinion that this isn't their final form when they come to the World Cup right here, because I think they have more up to their sleeves that they can offer. Meanwhile, we're already going here into the drafting phase. We see that China already banned Superman, of course, or Malok, I'm so sorry, because it changed already. But no surprise right there, since we know what kind of potential Malok has.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to be seeing the same bands here once again. I mean, okay, so a little bit undecided there. They're going to be switching over real quick to the Aram, and yep, that's going to be the lock-in on that ban right there.
I'm not seeing an Arum playstyle in this kind of match right here, but still, even if Team China wasn't able to, did not ban Superman, Team Taipei banned it for them, I guess.
Yep, but meanwhile, so far, okay, so let's go ahead and review what has been banned out earlier. I mean, Aram and Superman, sure, aside from that, we have the Malak, the Signal, the Flash, as well as the Max. So I'm wondering if we're going to be seeing those same bans right there, or if China going to kind of switch things up just so that they could have much more priority on something that otherwise would. Okay, so it is going to be the Malak this time around.
Yeah, but if you've noticed that, I think in my opinion that they're gonna have like a different kind of team play right here, because hey, when you say the first don't succeed, try it again. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm so sorry. But anyway, in all seriousness, we will see what kind of response does Taipei have for the banning phase.
Yep, still waiting for that. I'm wondering, like, I'd be damned if we still, like, at the end of, like, they're taking their time, definitely, but only to potentially see that, are these going to be the same bans from what we saw earlier?
Yeah,
I wonder.
I just realized that I just got juked. But not on the team picking, on the team banning. Oh, come on. But anyway, let's see if they're still gonna have the team. So far, it's the same, right? Oh, this time Teamy is banned for Team China banned Teamy right here. Looks like they don't want to have that utilized by well, any of sides of the team, since they kind of quite saw what Teamy can do from the past 2 games that we saw earlier.
In their hands.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, so with the Teamy band here, Max as well. Okay, so with the Zill as well as the Teamy band, we have to take note. What was banned earlier, the Max as well. Okay, so we're gonna switch it over to Alice, but regardless, I mean, from what.
So far, did you notice that the Alice was banned a while ago?
Yes, I actually did. So.
Well, of course, seeing the potential of my little Alice right there, I told you small but terrible people are very dangerous in the long run.
With the kit that she has a stun. She has a stun on demand. She has shields, not to mention complementary speed boost. In team fights, if you don't want your enemies to go into full effect, you have that field, the Hissy Fit, which of course grants the stuns as well. So just a lot of options here for that Alice, but nonetheless, we'll be heading into things in just a teeny tiny bit.
There we go.
So okay, we're back
Yay.
into the drafting, guys. Sorry about that. So, Omen as well as Cecilio gonna be prioritized by TP within their second rotation. Meanwhile, still waiting for those picks from China. We are seeing a hover over this Tulin though.
That's right, and we see a Xenial right here, and an Omen as well. We can see an Ormar. It was used onto the previous game, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm guessing that Team China will still go for a tanky composition, but with a little bit stash of a DPS right here. Well, it will depend on the last 2 remaining picks that they'll have. But in response to Team Taipei right here, we see a Wonder Woman and my personal favorite once again, Liliana.
Yep.
I love this Liliana.
What does the fox say?
I'm not gonna respond because it's pretty weird when I do that.
Ning 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 ning. But anyway.
Well, anyway, let's see. Oh, I can see Max open right here, and I'll be seeing a Max gameplay. But I don't want to finalize again because I don't want to get juked. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna lock in it because hey, Max is open. We're gonna use his potential, and considering the fact that his ult is very global and actually responsive when it comes to team fights and team clashes, I think it's gonna be a good choice for them. And considering that they choose a Zephys, looks like they're not gonna go for a marksman playstyle here for Team China.
Nope, not at all. They want in full-on brawl with the composition that they have. Lubu, Ormar, and Zephys just ready along with the Max to wreak havoc. And Tolan is just going to deal damage from the backline like there's no tomorrow. But looking at the composition that TPE has in the meantime, I mean, so far a pretty good draft from them in exchange. They have a lot of options with what they've managed to take off of Team China with the Omen, Xenia, Liliana, as well as the Wonder Woman at the same time. Take note, let's go ahead and check out these stats off of Zephys. So, hasn't even been banned a single game, but win percentage amidst the times that he has been picked 40%. I think that's still pretty A-okay actually.
Yeah, considering the fact that we haven't seen quite a Zephys playstyle for quite a while, and also a Xenial, I think I'm gonna witness one today. And we see a Violet right here. Looks like they're gonna still stick to the marksman type with a still pretty well-rounded type of composition. And I'm really looking forward for this because we see that Team China here.
Meeny, miny, mo.
Well, yeah, for Team Taipei, we see an eeny, meeny, miny, mo with Lindis or Violet. But before that, we can see that Team China here has a tanky, good initiative and supporting type of team composition right here. For the other side, we see more damage, but there's also good response and initiative as well for the Wonder Woman and Xenial specifically.
Yeah, so far with the drafts coming in from both sides here, pretty good balance coming in from TPE. Whilst, like you kind of mentioned earlier, for China in exchange, definitely wanting in on the all-out brawl. Lots of pick-off potential as well with the draft that they have. But for Chinese Taipei, definitely a better spread of options here, like I mentioned. Since it's a lot more variety in their draft, they could adjust accordingly depending on what's the status of their initial run in the first few minutes of the game. But of course, for China, the earlier on they could get the pickoffs, the hell better.
That's right. And if you look closely, I mean, even though that they have a different kind of team composition right now, I think they're still going for like the same tanky type kind of composition right here. And I really am excited because this is like a new phase for China to me.
So there you have it, guys. We are heading into Game 3. Finally, the game that'll determine who between Chinese Taipei and China will come off on the better end of this match in the AWC 2018 bootcamp. So there you have it, guys. Powered by Axe. Let's head on to the Antares battlefield. Hashtag CNWin or hashtag TPE wherever you're supporting. Let's know on social media and share the stream along with friends. So yeah, let's get on to it.
That's right, and we can still see the never-ending change of the middle lane clumping, grouping clash together into the first seconds of the game. But so far, China is not gonna engage this time, but will go here onto the top lane because, well, why not? Because it's their lane.
Yep, definitely gonna be a bit of a denial from Yuzon there. So, man, a little bit of shame. But of course, in exchange, you have to take note, Neil and Benny have their own agenda in a way, because they were on the jungle side of China, rather TPE in exchange. So it just pretty much pans out.
Yeah, that's right. And if you could see right here that Ormor is going to roam around, but Wonder Woman onto the mid lane, got for the lasso of truth, trying to engage, but misses this shot and forces Chulin to back away.
Yep, that's quite a bit of damage that Nanwan took, but of course, just gonna manage to regenerate a bit of that, no worries. So far, definitely so good for both sides here. Definitely taking a little bit more of a methodical approach in how they're tackling these first few seconds of the game.
That's right. Meanwhile, there is a good response from Scud right here. Max right here, if I'm not mistaken. That forces Omen to back away because of his low HP. Onto the bottom side of the lane, we see three members of Team Taipei here, and Xenial waiting for that right opportunity. Let's see if they're gonna go for a tower dive.
Yeah, it would be a bit dangerous though. I mean, that is two members of Team China, not to mention, looks like we're just trying to go for an initial set. Numbers were there for them to take down Abyssal Dragon. Will China try to at least get a pick off of the TPE? Probably not the best idea. Numbers aren't quite working in their favor, only 3 of them.
That's right, that Abyssal Dragon was taken quite smoothly back there. But we see so far there are no engagements, but more onto the grouping up together here onto the bottom side of the lane. But we can see here Liliana trying to poke away Zephys over there. But so far, I don't see much of engagement or action today.
Nope.
But we can see here that they're already Zephys already going on the top side of the tower, trying to help out Max here, but I still don't see some engagements there. And yeah, let's just see what happens.
Yeah, China getting good control over the camps of TP, but Yuzon, in the midst of that though, tries to contest. Benny gonna go for the spot just so that China couldn't go for full pursuit. But looks like TP, are they potentially gonna look for a re-engage? No, they just want just enough of a scare to prevent CN from getting more from the camp. But then again, if you look at the jungle side of Chinese Taipei, it's looking clean. So there's not really much for China to get there.
Ooh, looks like the blue golem was successfully stolen by Benny right here, but Tolan successfully getting the first blood out of it.
Yep, at the cost of his life. Ooh, JunJun overextended his boundaries a bit there. So
that was thanks to my Liliana's poking abilities.
Yep, that's the fox.
Forgive me, but I just really love Liliana right here, so you have to forgive. But in all seriousness right here, we can see like some kind of a semi one-on-one between Wonder Woman and Lubu. But so far, Violet is on the bottom side, easy to respond right there. But so far, Lubu's not engaging anything because he is aware of the danger.
Yep, and man, oh man. So far, I mean, it's a little bit of a balance. Once again, like I said, a little bit more of a methodical approach coming in from both sides here. And definitely both sides are, I wouldn't necessarily say playing it safer, but definitely playing it more calculated. But it's actually mengyi almost gets the full collapse coming in from TP, but TP in exchange looks like they want to back away at this point, and you take note they're far away from the safety of their own territory.
That's right. Also, that was a good response coming from Max's ult right there, making Team China get the Abyssal Dragon successfully. Meanwhile, Team Taipei right here successfully split pushes the top side of the tower.
Oh man, great play coming in from China. Not only getting Abyssal Dragon, but getting themselves at least one kill. But you have to take note, even with that build-up, still doesn't really amount to a significant lead. Just because Chinese Taipei, they were able to get an Abyssal Dragon of their own earlier, not to mention first turret of the game.
That's right, and we can see that Xenial here is already roaming to and fro onto the top and bottom side of the game, but N is kind of going for a response in case there's a team fight a while ago, and that's what's it's really going into good use. And meanwhile, Team China clubbing up together into the mid lane, but we see Team Taipei's Liliana right here trying to poke abilities right there, and was responded by Xenial, like I said a while ago, forcing Team China to back away.
Man, looks like China gonna have to back away indeed for now, Saya. But this will grant TPE a little bit of leverage as far as clearing out what they can from the jungle side of China. But looks like they just want to get in onto JiuSheng instead. Was pulled in by Wins, trying to do what he can, but gets taken down. Benny was almost gonna join in, but that's gonna be overkill at that point.
That's right, and that was a 4 versus 1, so I think he would really have a hard time on that. But meanwhile, we can see that Team China here trying to engage. And we can see the poking abilities of Liliana back there.
Yep.
And looks like they're going in strong here for Violet. Successfully ulted by Tully.
Yeah, man, just like that. Nanwan luckily able to get in range in the nick of time just so that he could channel in, throw off his ultimate. But looks like CN trying to back away at this point. TP trying to do what they can in exchange. CN trying to get what they can, trying to go for more, but looks like they're going to have to back away for the meantime.
That's right. They're having quite a difficulty setting up because they're in between of the kind of obstacle right there. We can see that Xenial is already responding right here and hopes for a good engagement and tries to knock them up. Xenial successfully shuts down Tolan right there.
Yep. That's Nanwan taken as a casualty, allowing the rest of CN to make an escape though, but Yichen looks like still far from safety. Benny, almost gets JunJun there.
But so far, well, we don't see much engagement here. Meanwhile, Team Taipei already pushing the mid side of the tower for China, and this is a good opportunity to get objectives right here. But we can see that Liliana is using her poking ability for if I had it correctly, was JiuSheng.
Oh man, this game is still raring for both sides here. So, nonetheless, I mean, from what we've been seeing so far, it's mostly been as soon as either side gets a pickoff, the team that gets that pickoff would try to seek what opportunities that they can from the enemy jungle side. So what they want to avoid though is a little bit of these overstays that we've been seeing so far, which is why I feel like a lot of the action pretty much results to still having this equal scoreboard, just because teams aren't able to get the full value of these invades. But oh man, Mengyi gets collapsed on by 4 members of TP and says sayonara.
But meanwhile, Wonder Woman is slain by Team China right there. It was a simultaneous engagement back there, so we weren't able to see. But it was like a win-win situation, I guess, because it was a one-on-one for them. Meanwhile, China pushing the top side of the tower right here successfully, and Xenial was a little bit too late to have a response to that. But Taipei, on the other hand, responded though onto the bottom side of the lane.
Yep, meanwhile, Benny just trying to walk his way out of there amidst both Nanwan and JiuSheng on this case, and looks like they will actually succeed.
That's right, and we can see right here that so far, despite the pokings, we can see that Liliana is not gonna survive this time because it is a 3-1. But Taipei trying to respond here as fast as they can, but they managed to escape.
Yep, looks like CN might want to back away for the meantime. JiuSheng gonna ensure that they get safe voyage back to base.
Looks like both doesn't want to waste time, but at the same time does not want to lose comrades right there because they're trying to have this team play as calculated as they can so it would go on to their favor.
I'd have to agree with you there, Seiya. And overall, this game, again, we've been saying how it's been an equal run here, but take note, the longer this game goes, as soon as we see more of these pickoffs, the heavier those death timers get. And I think at that point, that would be the time where we could slowly see the scales tip towards either team's favor. But so far, so good for either side here.
That's right, I'll agree with you with that. But meantime here, we can see that the Wonder Woman is already grouping up with Lilian over here alongside with Violet into the middle side of the lane. But so far, there are no engagements that are happening right now because, like I said earlier, they're gonna hope for a well-calculated engagement right here. But so far, Wonder Woman trying to get a hold onto the top side of the lane, but we can see here onto the bottom side of the lane an engagement as well.
Oh man, Yuzon, a tad bit unfortunate for him, was far away from comfort of territory. But take note, TP has their own monkey business towards this upper side of the map as well. Wins takes quite a bit, but not to say before taking down JunJun in exchange. So ping pongs back and forth.
It's like I'm watching a table tennis but on a MOBA game.
Yeah, exactly.
But we can see right here China trying to engage and successfully ulting Liliana with a double kill onto the Violet right there. That was a good engagement coming from Team China.
Ah, man. Team China. Okay, JiuSheng trying to make good work of this mid lane, but Benny in the nick of time. Not going to allow him any further shots, but whoa, this is a gutsy move coming in from China. Can Benny salvage this? Looks like going to get prevented from going in onto that Dark Slayer pit, and that will be Team China securing it for themselves. Benny able to make a sweet escape though, but you have to take note, they still have to deal with a Dark Slayer empowering China.
That's right, in the nick of time too, but this is not gonna go good for Team Taipei if they have one little mistake, because the fact that they have already the Dark Slayer, they have this pushing ability, more buffs for them, and it'll be a difficult time for them to engage here. So I guess the best way to happen here is that they will debuff the Dragon Slayer that Team China has right now. But so far, I think Team China is already taking advantage use of the buff that they have earned right now.
Yep, definitely. I mean, CN looking for opportunities, but right here on Yuzon, take note, still constantly pushing for pressure here, which would otherwise force China into a position wherein, okay, we can't commit all members to going for the shove. Somebody has to deal with Yuzon, and speaking of who's going to deal with him, it looks like it is going to be JunJun that tries to get the hold on him. Here comes the rest of CN coming in with the flank to prevent Yuzon any further escape out, and that's going to be another kill under the belt of Team China.
Looks like Mengyi said to himself, I think I'm not needed there. I'm just going to wait here for you guys just in case. But we can see right here, they're already clumping up together onto the middle lane, taking use of the buff that they have, but they did not continue to push that tower back there. Maybe because they didn't have a wave of minions back there, so that's the reason why they weren't able to push it. But now, poking abilities coming from the Lubu right here. This is quite a good fight, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's not real clear. Okay, Benny gonna go for a response there towards the mid lane, but fortunately for China, not able to utilize the Dark Slayer to go for some heavy on sieges. But then again, you can't blame him. Chinese Taipei definitely put up not only a great defense, but a point of contention wherein China had to decide, do we go full on siege with 5 members, or does somebody deal with the otherwise split pushing Yuzon earlier in the bot lane?
That's right, and that was a successful take for the Team China onto the Abyssal Dragon back there. But so far we can see no engagements. Even with the Dark Slayer a while ago, they didn't have that much engagement just yet. Maybe just like what I keep saying a while ago, they are waiting for calculated team fights so that it could be onto their favor, so that they wouldn't have resources or allies to waste. Because this is type of the crucial moment for both teams.
Yeah, meanwhile, that's them trying to go for Yuzon, but great response coming in from the Signal, which will otherwise allow TPE to reverse. Not only great timing on that Signal, but the great response coming in from TPE as well. 3 members taken down from the side of China. This could be TPE's China side. Not really that many objectives to take, but this could be a good opportunity to try to siege some turrets.
That's right. This is the one that you were talking about a while ago, that as the time goes, this is going to be trickier and trickier for both teams. And this time, Yuzon successfully taking down the top side of blue team's tower. And they're already grouping up into the mid lane, going to destroy that tower right there.
Yep, and they want all the more. Take note though, 3 members of China that are down are almost going to get up and kicking, but looks like won't be in time to salvage this high ground turret though, and that'll be TPE contented with what value they got off of that siege.
They didn't want to waste time. They don't want to waste more than what they could already have. But this time, poking ability coming from Liliana back here, but suddenly backs away because she knows the danger of more people back there.
No dilly-dally, shilly-shally for this game. But, oh man, this is becoming all the more tricky. So, yeah, as you were saying, Saya, this is the point that I was talking about earlier where we're slowly seeing the scale tip towards particularly TPE in this game because of some of these, what's the word I'm looking for? I'd say oversteps coming in from China at times, and I think that recent overstep, which resulted to 3 casualties from China, was quite a bit of a blunder. So, Sia not only has to look for opportunities to try to get the gold back onto equal playing field, but also they have to manage this heavy minion wave pushing in the mid lane amidst losing out on that high ground turret.
That's right, and we can see right here Tolan being engaged right here and was defeated by Violet. If you'd noticed that the Tolan was alone a while ago, so he would really have a hard time. Meanwhile, Wonder Woman successfully slaying Lubu back there. This is a disadvantage coming from China already because they're already on lesser number of turrets, well, 2 towers and 1 core. And this is a good opportunity for Taipei to actually push, and Violet using or utilizing the skill that she has to actually poke that tower to get to be destroyed.
Yep, and here comes the cavalry. TPE, they have a lot of options here. They could either try to go for the core, but looks like Neil gonna play the safer route while the rest of TPE is distracted, fighting the members of China under the core. Sinil getting a great heal on, and I think, Saya, we have a very clear winner here. Congratulations to the Chinese Taipei, taking it 2-1 against Team China. Very, very well played.
Ooh, very intense. Although both players managed to have a good team fight right there, we clearly see who won in the end of the game. That was a very good initiate coming from Chinese Taipei.
Again, the unfortunate thing right there was China didn't overstep, as I said, and the fact that they lost so many members in the midst of that overstep with that heavy death timer just allowed Chinese Taipei to get that full-on siege that they needed. And like I mentioned, with those sieges, you get a lot of value off of taking those high grounds, just limited China, and TP just continued to mill through. And the tricky part here was China should have learned their lesson when they lost out on those initial 3 members. Another opportunity happens again where they lose out on 2 key members again from TPEs, and that pretty much sealed the deal for them.
That's right, and TPE being aware of this, they didn't really wasted their time and took whatever they could have in the time that they had. And if you'd notice that they were aggressive from the early game up to the very end of the game.
So there you have it. Great handshakes happening there. Of course, sportsmanship at the end of the day.
And at the end of the day, they're gonna be friends forever.
Oh, friends forever.
Friends forever.
That is very optimistic.
Yes, it's very good to be optimistic this day.
Okay, if you say so.
What?
Okay, but anyways, so that was just match 1, guys. When we come back, we still have yet another match to take. I believe it is Thailand and Chinese Taipei taking the stage once again. The wild card team versus the main team from Thailand. So juicy match that we have up next. But of course, for the meantime, that was quite the intense 3-game match. We have to take a break for sure, but don't worry, we have all the more AOV action happening in just a bit. Once again, we have been your casters. I'm Arctic. With me is Saya. This is the Arena Valor World Cup 2018 boot camp. So we'll see you guys in just a teeny tiny bit for match number 2. Stay tuned.